You may have noticed that Roman Reigns isn't as in your face as he used to be. In fact, ever since he came back earlier in the year and he had that final run with the Shield, I don't think he has main evented one pay-per-view. I mean, he's been in big angles, but when it comes to closing the show, the big dog is out pissing in the yard or whatever the hell a big dog would do. That is doubly strange given recently we had a huge week in pro wrestling. We recreated history or welcome to history, whatever it was that Vince and Stephanie McMahon said. And what was Roman doing? He was just having a lumberjack match with Eric Rowan. It was a good lumberjack match, but that's not really what he used to do in like 2016 and 17 and 18 and 15 and 1894 and whatever. And that is really because Vince McMahon, he ain't gonna push Roman Reigns anytime soon. Why? Here's why. Now, your main thought may be that the chairman has given up on Reigns and has decided to go in a different direction. We'll take that thought and throw it in the fire, because just go and watch the brand new intro to SmackDown. Who finishes it off? Whose luxurious hair and chiseled features are staring back at you before we start the show? That's right. It's Roman Reigns. But like I say, ever since his return from illness, we have been moving in a strange direction. Let's not forget that comeback was one of the best things we've not only ever seen within WWE, but one of the best things we've seen in all of wrestling. And as a quick aside, as a quick tangent, I think it's quite sad that some fans are all ready to boo him once more, because it's more than just the sport of kings or sports entertainment. It's a real motivational and it's a real inspirational story. We should be using that to send it out across the world. Now again, if you do pay money for your ticket and you go to a WWE show, you are allowed to do whatever the hell you want. You want to boo him, you boo away, but just know deep down if I'm booing, I'm not booing, I'm saying boo earns. But even with the madness of that week I spoke about earlier, Roman Reigns wasn't really a part of any of it. I mean, we had Cain Velasquez coming over from the world of MMA to start a feud with Brock Lesnar, and Tyson Fury, who's a very big deal over here, he set his sights on Braun Strowman, which of course again left Roman just to do his thing with Luke Harper and Rowan. And that is fine too, but it is a long cry away from SummerSlam 2018 as an example, when the big dog was holding the big red belt. And let's not forget what happened there. As soon as the real life Joanna Hawaii had won that title, WWE shut the feed down because they were worried that the fans were going to revolt. And what does that sound like? What has happened over the last week or so, depending when you're watching this? Hell in a Cell. What happened at Hell in a Cell? It's good that we learn. The true answer, or so it would seem, is that McMahon is actually using patience, and patience isn't a word that we often use when it does come to WWE. Rather than just carry on regardless no matter what's happening in arenas, we are just practicing restraint, and I think it's actually doing wonders for Roman Reigns. He's a bit like The Undertaker. Remember back in the day when The Undertaker was always such a pivotal part of any pay-per-view, of any card, or of Raw on SmackDown, but he rarely got to the main event. I mean, every now and then he would be there, but mostly we just knew, well, The Undertaker is a draw, and The Undertaker is a presence. We can put him anywhere, and it will actually make everything else feel like it has more esteem. And it's the same now, because you always expect to see Reigns, but you're just never sure on what guise that is going to be. And that's not to say that he's never going to go after the gold again. Of course he is, but then the environment and the landscape may be vastly different to what it is now or what it was then. I mean, it's not like everything with Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins worked out, is it? As a second reference. And speaking of those two, they are both viable opponents for Roman as and when you see fit to do it, especially Seth Rollins. I mean, picture this. Imagine the scene. If you did do Shield member versus Shield member and you put it on at WrestleMania, but it wasn't for the title, I actually think you would light a fire under a lot of people's asses. Because yes, that's right, if fans know that they're getting a world title match or a universal title match, as well as seeing Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, there isn't going to be any bleating or moaning or whining about, oh, I don't want to see the belt on Roman, or I don't want to see the belt on Seth. You don't have to worry about that. You can just worry about the narrative that they would create and think of the damn story they can tell. It goes all the way back until they first formed that trio. You would invest, and let's be honest, given how Seth Rollins is getting on at the moment and how he is being reacted to, there's every chance we'll actually choose Roman as our guy. Be like, you know what? I'm cheering him because the other dude with long, black, greasy hair and a beard is the man that buried Bray Wyatt the Fiend. Even though he's not, that was management and that was booking. But that's just what we do as audience members. Throw in the fact that we have bided our time with Roman, and all of a sudden I start to think that this makes sense. And let's not take away from all the effort that Roman has put in since he has been walking down this new path. He had a much better match with The Undertaker, which we all enjoyed. Then he turned his attention to Buddy Murphy and dragged him right up. And again, that's not Buddy's fault, but thankfully somebody did. And he even managed to have a delightful romp with Elias. Talking of future opponents as well, if you're really looking to make some money out of him, we can book the dream match that many people have been asking for, literally now for around about 5 years. The Rock versus Roman Reigns. And I know I don't ever expect to see Dwayne Johnson back in a wrestling ring. I know he retired during that interview, but that ain't going to stop people crying for it. And if you could convince him, I tell you again, you do that at Mania, you are just everyone's going to watch. Everybody. And yeah, sure, it instantly turns Roman Reigns heel. What difference does that make? Technically, Roman Reigns has been a heel since the day he was born, or at least that's what some wrestling fans think. If nothing else, it's nice that we took a strategy that a lot of fans agreed with and saw that WWE thought the same and actually put it into practice. Because again, I know I've mentioned it once and twice and now thrice, but look what we did with Bray Wyatt. If we had come to the same conclusion of, what would the fans actually appreciate, then right now The Fiend would be Universal Champion and social message boards and Twitter and Facebook wouldn't be melting down. We did it with Reigns, again, after the fact, but we did. And for me, at least, as a WWE fan, and admittedly, I've always kind of erred on the good side of the Roman Reigns debate, I think right now he's a real good, pivotal asset to the company. And when you do want to make him WWE Champion again, I'll actually be all right with it. It's been ages. He's a top guy. He's got to re-enter it at some point. Now, I will take all of this back if we do get to somewhere like WrestleMania 36 and we do the Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns match again. That's just tied by this point, and as I always say, it's the law of diminishing returns, but that's just me speculating on the future, whereas what I want to do right now is appreciate the present. And appreciating the present is by looking at Vince McMahon, is by looking at WWE, realizing that Roman Reigns is, again, always in important angles, but he's never been in a main event, or hasn't been in a main event for a while. And again, I really like that, and I also enjoy everything he's been doing with Daniel Bryan recently. Now, I hope somehow we can turn that into a match. How we do that, I have no idea, given that they hugged at the pay-per-view. Hell in a Cell again, oh, death, what are we going to do? But that's what I want to see. And you know what? Yeah, if you want to turn him heel at some point, you probably can as well. I would have called you crazy if anybody had brought that up in February 2019 when he came back from leukemia. But we're all strange creatures. We're all strange animals. One of the reports I read on the internet was that during the SmackDown premiere debut on Fox, some people were actually booing Roman then. So it's probably only going to get worse when he does climb back up that ladder and becomes WWE Champion. I just don't get the Roman hate. He's really good in the ring. He has great matches with everybody. He's got a good WWE look. Some people don't like his promos. Okay, I think he just comes across as a dude. Backstage as a leader. Oh, the roster likes him. I don't get it. It's completely lost on me. I've kind of liked Roman from day one. Go back to the Royal Rumble when Batista got the victory. Everybody was desperate for Roman Reigns to win. You want to know why? It's because they thought Batista was getting in the way of Daniel Bryan, and that didn't happen. Then next year we thought, oh no, it's Roman Reigns getting in the way of Daniel Bryan. Maybe we should let that go. Just saying, don't get mad at me. It's just an idea I'm throwing out there. You can just ignore it and continue to sail down the lake of loveliness. Maybe it's just time to judge him on his own merits and also say, well done, Vince McMahon, for listening to the fans. In this one occasion, again, The Fiend, I get it, I understand. But on this occasion, it all calmed down. We kind of moved him back into a position that we'd rather he was in. Just my 2 cents. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about Roman Reigns, and I already know what it is. Simon Miller, you're a bald-headed asshole. Simon Miller, why would you do this to us? We don't want to see Roman Reigns pushed back to the top. Simon Miller, go put your head in the toilet and flush the chain. I'm not going to do that one, so don't waste your typing power. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to What Culture Wrestling, then head over to whatculturewrestling.com. That's not it. Head over to whatculture.com and read yourself some articles. Watch more videos here on What Culture Wrestling, and give What Culture Wrestling a little follow on that there Twitter. It's not that, it's What Culture WWE. It's been a very long day, and I always get a bit like when we're talking about Roman Reigns, because even now, someone gets an imaginary gun and they try and shoot you because like, he's saying good things about Roman Reigns. I don't want anybody to say good things about Roman Reigns. Well, I'm stood here I am now in my superhero man pose. I'm stood here and I'm ready to take it. You fire those imaginary bullets and I'll grab them. I spit him on the floor. But yes, my name was the Roman Reigns loving Simon Miller. I'm going to go to Depot and get that changed. And I really just appreciate the Roman Reigns story of 2019. Obviously, I'm very, very happy he was able to get over his illness, his disease, and come back. And I think, look, the Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns storyline, while having some glaring plot holes, was long term. We didn't rush it, and it had a nice ending. We saw two people that I enjoy hug. And I always like it when people hug. It makes me feel good inside. Thanks for watching. See you soon.